Want the perfect mix of family living, character homes, and being close to everything Halifax has to offer? Then the West End of Halifax might just be for you. I'm Tom Moore, your host of the Living in Halifax channel, and as I mentioned today, we're doing a neighborhood tour of the West End of Halifax. Now, before we get started, there's a couple guides in the description below I want you guys to check out. They're buyer guides, seller guides. Hope you get started with wrapping your head around the process of transacting in real estate here in Halifax. I've also got a spot for you to set up a video meeting. Obviously, my other contact info is there as well. And we've got a ChatGPT bot, which you can kind of interact with around Halifax specific stuff. And then in today's video, we're going to be talking about things like community, lifestyle, house prices, some pros and cons, basically everything that the South End has to offer. And at the end, I'll give you a little bit of a local's perspective as well. But other than that, enjoy the video. Okay, so let's talk about the location and the lifestyle of the West End. Now, as I mentioned kind of in the intro there, the West End, along with the North End, in my opinion, are two of the most centrally located neighborhoods in regards to downtown and everything you possibly need. The West End is kind of, well, it's to the west of downtown, and it's a very wide spanning area, but your commute times on the high end are going to be probably 10 minutes. And if you're just trying to get, downtown, it's 10, 8 minutes, depends on the drive. Now, in terms of the lifestyle has really turned into a great family neighborhood. Quite a few renters rent here in some of the older homes that have, 1, 2, 3, 4 units. It's not a ton of big apartment buildings, although that is changing with some of the development. And then you've also got families that have left the coop, so empty nesters who have lived here for, again, 30 years. I grew up in the West End, and so obviously I have a little bit of a soft spot in my heart. But the big thing here is that this neighborhood is truly for everybody at all stages of kind of the home ownership, home rentership journey. It's going to be for people that want to be close to the action, however, not people that want a lot of space or extra land or something like that. All right, so let's talk about the housing and West End real estate. The West End is traditionally kind of 100-year-old homes, maybe a little bit younger than that are on a little bit smaller lots. Now, a lot of these homes have quite a bit of character, but average price ranges we're going to be looking at right around like $650,000. I mean, that really depends on the month, obviously. However, the interesting thing about the West End is there's not a ton of condos for sale here. So really, if you're looking to own something in the West End, it's going to have to be a house. Now, there's obviously quite a few renters in here and whatnot, but the big thing about the West End is you're going to be able to find either kind of traditional single family homes or it's just you living there. You're also going to be able to find quite a few places that have maybe a secondary suite or something like that, or at least the ability to put one of those in there. So it's going to really come down to a lot of the times with price range, where it is in the West End. Again, there's certain micro neighborhoods of the West End that tend to be a little bit more expensive, but it's not the same entry point as the South End. However, you're still able to access pretty much the exact same amenities that the South End would. Okay, so let's talk about the community and the amenities of the West End. Now, as I mentioned a little earlier there, the West End but is made up primarily of families, people who've lived here for a long, long time, and then renters. And it's got quite a few renters because we're very close to downtown and to the universities. Now, regarding, kind of the amenities that the West End has to offer, obviously right behind me there, we've got the Commons, which has probably one of the best green spaces the city has to offer, whether it's tennis courts, the oval, the pool, all kinds of stuff, skate park. But it's also got quite a few parks and dog parks kind of scattered throughout the area. Again, the West End is a very large area. One really great thing about the West End that I love is 90 or 80% of the West End is very walkable to coffee shops, grocery stores, whatever you kind of need. Now, there's certain parts that its walkability score would be off the charts. There's other parts that it's a little less walkable, but pretty much everywhere you're going to be able to walk to some sort of small scale commercial asset where you could do your errands or whatever. And then the other aspect of the West End, the other amenities that they have is it's very close to downtown. So you get to utilize all of the great things that the downtown of Halifax really has to offer, whether it's gyms, there are gyms kind of scattered throughout the West End, but that downtown bar scene, downtown restaurant scene. So really the West End is filled with amenities that you can use depending on what you're into. All right, so let's do a quick pros and cons of the West End of Halifax. Now, obviously, when it comes to pros, I would say the culture of the neighborhood I know that's kind of strange, but it really gives off this neighborly vibe in the West End. Your walkability is going to be another one. Proximity to downtown, we'll call that the third. When it comes to cons, there's not too many. At the West End, I don't think there's a single piece of land for sale. So if you're looking to build a house, you're gonna have to knock something down. And then the other one would be kind of the size of the lot. So it's much more of a traditional city neighborhood compared to kind of the South End maybe, where there's larger lots. So that would be the other con there. All right, so let me give you a little local's perspective on the West End. I am a local to this neighborhood, so I can do that. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I do believe that the West End is probably the best neighborhood that Halifax has to offer. It's going to really depend on what you're looking for. Obviously, everybody has their own individual tastes and whatnot, but I think it blends the perfect amount of walkability, travel time and access to downtown, and proximity to things. Get a lot of clients that are interested in being close to the hospitals or having good school zones, things like that. Obviously the money here all gets spread around for the school zones, but if you're looking to put your kids in the private school, you're very close to them as well. So overall, I think that the West End just has a lot to offer in terms of decent sized homes, decent sized plots of land. They're not too small. And then you have all those parks and amenities that everything is really great. And again, my mom, we grew up in the West End. My mom used to walk down to the downtown to work every day. It was like 30 minutes there, probably 40 minutes back because she had to climb the hill, but everything is very close here. And it's just great, as I referred to earlier, great culture, a neighborly culture in the area as well. All right, folks. Well, if that West End video makes it sound like the West End is the place for you, or maybe you're thinking about listing your home, I would love to help guide you through that process. Once again, we do have those guides, whether it's buying or selling, to download to get you started there. And if you're thinking about making a move, whether buying or selling, then definitely reach out. We've got the contact info down below. Be sure to subscribe. Come up with a video like this every single week. And other than that, have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.